There is a large-scale change underway in the federal public service. This change is about building and strengthening relationships, solving problems jointly, searching for innovative solutions, and being better able to deal positively and constructively with differences we encounter in the workplace. Informal conflict management, ICMS, is making a large contribution to this change, as envisioned by the Public Service Modernization Act. Whether you are an employee who is having difficulties or someone who is advocating this effective approach to resolving disputes in the workplace, the dramatic scenes and comments that you will see in this video will provide insight into the nature and value of ICMS. The scenes you are about to see depict conflict in an office environment. They demonstrate how managers, union representatives, and human resource professionals acting as access points can direct employees to ICMS, where they can receive the support they need to deal with conflict directly and early on.
You know what, Lee? It's just never enough. No matter how much I bust my butt on a project, you're never satisfied.
You just don't get it, do you? Maybe if you actually finished something, just once, maybe that might be enough.
And what is that supposed to mean?
Are you okay?
No, I'm not okay. Hi, it's me. Well, he's doing it again. Oh yeah, except this time I'm not taking it. Remember the annual report a couple of years ago? Yeah, well, it's exactly the same. Nothing has changed. Except this time, I'm not taking it. I'm out of here. Well, there's just no way I'm going to come in here day in, day out and work with a guy like him. Life is just too short. Anyway, listen. I'll be home in about an hour, okay? Yeah. What? You're asking me what's for dinner? Oh, come on.
Well, I've been a union rep for more than 25 years, and this is not, that scene is not unusual in the workplace. Conflict is everywhere. Conflict happens at many, many different levels. It often starts off very small, but because it goes unresolved, it just balloons into something that affects the whole workplace, how the work is done, and certainly even the health of the people that are in the workplace. When people feel powerless as to how to resolve a conflict, or are powerless to know who to go to help them resolve a conflict, then they feel alone. And it's something that is so difficult to deal with. It is really important that we have people in our workplaces that you're comfortable with, that you're comfortable going to.
Hi, it's me, hon. Not too good. Listen up. Bad news. I gotta cancel our dinner date for tonight. I know it's our kids' free night. I was really looking forward to it too. No, well, I'll be working all night again, you know, because someone isn't pulling her weight. Yeah, look, I am going to talk to someone about this because I can't go on like this anymore. I know you had to cancel your book club. I'm really sorry, but... Damn.
We found in the department I'm working for now that small issues that aren't dealt with initially have a habit of escalating. The more they escalate and start to spiral out of control, the more difficult it is to resolve them. In fact, when we started with our informal system in our department, we use the byline or the motto, conflict is inevitable but manageable, to get across this idea that it is commonplace. People should not be overly concerned that they're in conflict. I know it's not a nice place to be, but the fact that it happens is natural. The world is full of it, we know that, and it's in our workplaces today. If we can get at it early, there's a good chance that it can be resolved in a suitable manner that works for both parties.
Recognizing that Lee needs to vent, his union rep, Michel, wants to use the opportunity to allow him to dig into what's really at the heart of what he's feeling. Which of his interests, his needs, and expectations are not being met?
Lee, you seem really annoyed. What's going on?
It's Kim. She's just useless. She keeps dropping the ball, and I always end up picking up the slack. I'm tired of covering for her and working these ridiculous hours trying to finish the project. I just missed my kid's hockey game last night trying to finish up, and just now I had to cancel my date night with Karen, babysitter and all.
I've never seen you this upset. This must be really getting to you.
I just don't know what to do anymore.
Lee, look, you may have several ways of going about this, but let's not try and find a solution right now. I want to know more about what's really going on.
So the key to understanding the story and really the conflict is to try to uncover what's really going on, the interests or the underlying concerns or hopes or expectations that's driving the conflict.
And that's why it's so important to find out what's going on in employee's life. Like what happens to an employee for his or her work to go off track is very important to stop and take, take the time to probe into that, particularly if you're dealing with a teamwork, because the team will all be impacted, like each member of the team will be impacted by that employee not performing up to par.
While Lee is speaking to his union rep, Kim has chosen to share her side of the story with her access point, her manager, Alex.
I'm not working with Lee anymore, and I want off this project.
This project is very critical, and you're an important part of it.
I know, but the demands just never let up, and you know how hard I work. That's why I'm so stressed out. It just seems like I'm the only one who's willing to give this project the kind of time that it deserves.
I know the quality of your work is important to you and to this unit.
It really is, you know.
I think most employees, a good majority of employees through their career, will at some point in time experience some type of conflict in the workplace. What has been happening with the ICMS system is we're trying to help people through these scenarios, but at the same time give them the ability to themselves know and recognize when these conflicts are coming.
You know, there's a saying that you give a man a fish and you fed him for one day. But if you teach him how to fish, then he'll be able to feed himself forever. It's the same thing as the ICMS tools, where once you've equipped people and given them the information that they need, then they can take care of themselves. They're empowered to take care of the situation themselves.
I just don't see how I can work with Lee anymore. You know, it's like after this last fight, I see how things have totally broken down between us, and I don't know what to do now.
Well, I think we need to find a solution to get you guys working together again. I think ICMS might work.
ICMS?
Well, the system is based on the idea that conflicts, such as yours and Lee's, can be handled differently. It focuses on using interest-based approaches.
What does that mean exactly?
It means that people, with a little support, can find solutions to their conflicts themselves through mediation, facilitation, negotiation. There's even something called conflict coaching, where a personal coach can help you learn how to handle conflict.
You mean I would get some kind of support to work this out with Lee?
Sure.
So Lee and I would work together to try and find a solution to this? Like no winner or loser? That would be good.
Exactly. And if ICMS doesn't work, you can always look at more formal ways for solving this.
I like the sound of the ICMS approach. You know, Lee and I didn't start out on bad terms. Actually, we used to make a pretty good team.
Well, the skill set demonstrated here in this segment is active listening. The ability to filter through all of the stuff and get to the real problem.
The employee wants to have the feeling that he or she has been heard, that there's a sympathetic ear listening to what is being said, what he has to say, and that he's not going to be facing a dead end, basically, and having to repeat a story over and over and over again.
So if somebody comes to you and needs some help and they're in a conflict situation, I think it's really important to remember you're not there to solve it for them. Rather, you're there to guide them, to give them support so that they're better able to solve the problem themselves.
I don't want to make a huge issue out of this, and I don't want to get Kim into trouble. Look, I know she has a lot on her plate, but so do I. I can't keep covering for her at the expense of my home life. There's got to be some balance in all of this.
Sounds like you want to deal with this situation quickly and get the job done and go home.
That's it. Look, I know Kim. I know we can work together, but things have to change.
The kinds of skills that we use in informal conflict management systems, skills like active listening, questioning, probing, can be used in all aspects of our lives, not just the workplace. It is really important that, again, in all aspects of our lives, we learn to take a step back, to consider our options, and consider other ways of resolving the conflicts in our lives.
Critical that the employee has really a strong feeling that he or she has options, that the solution is not being imposed, it's not a decision that's imposed to resolve or to come to a conclusion to the problem. It's critical that the employee has really a feeling of empowerment and of participating in finding a solution.
Hi, guys. Hi, Lee. Did you have a good weekend?
Yes. Yes, I did. How about you?
Yeah, I had a good weekend.
Okay then, shall we get started?
When people can build bridges on their own and develop meaningful relationships, we're beyond the big communities. We're now down to the individuals who are helping people in conflict. Once that relationship is there, it is so much easier for one or the other to pick up the phone and say, guess what, it's happened again, or we have a new situation. Can we talk before this thing gets out of hand?
Hi, Michelle. It's Alex, Kim Ladouceur's manager. I was really impressed by the way you helped Kim and Lee solve their issues. Actually, that's why I'm calling you today. I have a little issue brewing at the office, and I'd like to meet with you to discuss strategies on nipping this one in the bud. Are you free for coffee soon sometime?
ICMS brings out the options that are open to participants in a dispute. That's important because people often feel powerless when confronted with a difficult situation.
You've got to be kidding. Jack! Jack, I've got to see you right now.
What is it? What's going on?
I'll tell you what it is, Jack. You've messed up again. Because of your laziness and inefficiency, Greg and Zoe are going to have to work all weekend to finish that report for the meeting on Monday morning.
Well, I've been working on the report all week, Pat. I didn't know it was due on Monday.
Unbelievable!
Unbelievable. I'll tell you what's unbelievable. His condescending attitude towards me. How dare he insinuate I'm lazy? I was never told that this was due on Monday. Nobody told me that bit of information. As usual around here. Hey, it's me. You'll never guess what just happened. Pat just totally blew up at me for something I thought I was doing a great job on. There's absolutely nothing I can do about it. As usual.
Oh, hello. Is that you, Paulette?
Yes?
Oh, hi, I didn't recognize your voice. It's Pat.
Oh, hello, Pat. How are you today?
I could be better.
Oh?
I'm having problems with an employee of mine who's just not delivering the goods. I give him chance after chance, but he's just not cutting it. Bottom line, ever since some death in his family, his work has been going downhill. Look, I don't want to be the bad guy here, but I am the team leader, and it's my responsibility to get things done.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Pat. Have you tried talking with him about this?
Yes, I've raised this with him before. I just finished a meeting with him. I'm afraid I lost it. I didn't handle it very well. It's just that I get so angry. I'm sick of always getting into an argument or hearing an excuse every time I try to talk to him about something.
Oh, I see. Well, you can always try talking.
Well, Pat just laid into me, again. This time about a document he never even told me was due on Monday. He even called me lazy. You wouldn't believe how hard I worked on that document. He has no clue what I'm going through right now.
I know that you don't need this right now, Jack. What do you want to do about it? Have you thought about filing a complaint?
What's that gonna do? You know what people will say if I file one. What kind of reputation I'll get if I file any kind of complaint?
Well, you know, you do have some options. There are ways you can take charge of this situation, ways that you can resolve this with Pat.
What kind of ways?
Well, ICMS can help. ICMS can bring someone in to help you have a facilitated conversation with Pat. And if it doesn't work out, you could always consider refiling a complaint.
Okay. I'll think about it.
I was actually very happy to hear her say that if things didn't work out, we can always revert to what we call a rights-based process, a grievance, a formal complaint, or whatever. And actually, that can be done up front. A grievance can be filed and then put in abeyance, put in suspension, and then we go through the informal process to try to resolve the problem. And actually, we hope that we can resolve the problem that way, but sometimes it doesn't work out, and we need to revert back to a more formal process.
It's not an unusual situation. In real life, people often lose their cool. You have to remember that this is related to the job, and the job isn't their whole lives. There are often contributing factors from outside the job that could lead to this.
Well, Paulette, he just might file a complaint. It's happened around here before. Doing that just blows everything out of proportion. You know, it's ridiculous. I'm just trying to do my job. Can't we find a way to just make this go away?
Actually, Pat, there are some other options out there that might help resolve things sooner than later.
Really? Well, I'd be interested to hear about them.
Well, there's a system in place called the ICMS.
The what?
Oh, of course. The ICMS is the informal...
Well, there's no way I'm going to file a complaint. Listen, if something can be done without filing one, I'm willing to consider it. There was a guy in my old department that filed a complaint one time, and he's still wearing it. That was years ago.
Every organization, even throughout the federal government, has its own culture, different ways, different degrees of acceptability for conversations about conflict and so on. ICMS is about changing culture, about showing people that there is a better way, that it is possible to have a conversation to resolve issues. It's not going to happen overnight. It is going to take time, and more importantly, it's going to take actual use of this system. In other words, demonstration by example to make it take root.
In addition to organizational culture, we also need to consider personal culture of each individual. We need to take into consideration their education, their national origin, which may impact on how they behave and how they approach a situation in order to resolve it.
Yes, I remember a case years ago where an employee called me and it was obvious that there was a major problem between her and her supervisor. I personally felt as a union rep that she had a case that we could and should go forward with it, but culturally, her background, her family, her parents were telling her that she should not make waves, basically, because it would damage her career. So she refused to pursue any sort of resolution to the issue.
You know, I really didn't appreciate the way... Thanks for nothing.
I completely understand, Mr. Wilson, and I can assure you this behavior will not continue.
I cannot believe that guy. He just gave me the total brush off. I just tried to talk to him, and he wouldn't even give me the time of day. That guy's cold-hearted and has zero social skills. He has no idea what I'm feeling. I always thought he didn't like me, but now I'm convinced he hates me.
Sylvia realizes that people have different ways of reacting to stress and that Jack needs a chance to vent. She listens carefully to what he has to say and encourages him to take enough of a break to reflect on what's really been happening. She reminds him that filing a grievance is still possible and suggests some other options.
Hello? Oh, hi, hon. Oh, not good at all. I just had another confrontation with Jack this morning. It was terrible. Yeah, I'm just trying to do my job, and this guy just isn't delivering. Now everything's spinning out of control. And, well, you won't like this, but I just got a call from Justin's school warning me that if he skips one more time, he'll be suspended. I just got off the phone with his principal. I'm telling you, something's got to give. I just can't keep all these balls in the air.
These two people obviously are bringing in a lot of things that are personal in this relationship. And we come along very often in this fashion when we're dealing with our colleagues until somebody really can help us to identify that those issues are separate from the main issue and help us to focus on the true problem at hand. We'll just go around in circles.
No two people are wired the same way, especially when it comes to conflict. People handle emotions differently, they react differently, they think differently about conflict, and that's okay. The important thing to understand is that when we're trying to deal with conflict, people come at it from different points of view.
So sometimes the need and expectations of the employees do not jive with the needs and expectations of the managers, and if there's no space for communication between the two of them, that can result in a very difficult conflict, and if it's not dealt with from the very beginning, can evolve into a very difficult situation.
Listen, Jack, I've been speaking to Paulette in HR, and I've been thinking things have really gone off the rails here, and maybe we should get some help, you know, get somebody to help us sort things out.
Well, I'm willing to consider it, but no guarantees. You know, this whole situation's really been unbearable.
I'm not happy either, but I'd really like to try working together to fix things.
Okay, it can't get any worse than it is right now. I'll see if my union rep wants to come along. When do you want to meet?